Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm the founder of Uni Discovery, Ananya, and I have here with me one of the most credible instructors for IELTS out there, Mr. Lokesh. He's going to be taking you through a masterclass of IELTS from A to Z. Our goal, as mentioned, is to empower students like yourselves to take a path that is the best towards your future career and the best colleges that you can choose for yourself. So, we want to empower you with those tools and those resources. Without further delay, we're here to take you through every tip and trick for preparing for this exam that is very crucial for your career, especially for your undergrad. So, without further delay, I'm going to pass on the floor to Lokesh to start taking you through the masterclass. Over to you, Lokesh.
Okay, thank you so much, Ananya. And it has been a great association with you so far. And I'm hoping after this masterclass, the detailed version of IELTS, once it is over, the students are surely getting an overview how they need to proceed further. So what I've done, this is what I'm trying to convey to everybody who is going to participate in this. I have tried to include those points which you do not find easily on YouTube, or let's say even if you are Googling, your Google, working on the Google for finding the answers related to your queries. I have tried that I have simplified all the points together. So let us begin with the first slide we have. Okay, so this is what we will cover today. The first point is why we give IELTS examination. Why required? Why it is required? Because we are definitely using English as a communication since school, even in our college, but still we are required to give IELTS exam. Whenever we are approaching the universities abroad, they ask us only one question. What is your English proficiency level? And that's where IELTS comes to the rescue. All right. Then the second point we will be looking at is about the format and modules of IELTS. Obviously, there has been some change, or I should say that very slight change, but it is a positive one because due to the COVID-19, we moved to the online version of IELTS examination as well. So we will discuss that in the second point. Then, yes, when you look at the marking criteria, the main point about performing an IELTS examination is if you are not aware about how the examiner, how the Cambridge IELTS examination is scoring you, how they judge you. Because yes, you might be speaking English since your school days, but they have a slight criteria because that is how they have made this examination. And once this marking criteria is clear to the candidates, definitely there is an increase in their scoring. And then we will be talking about result declaration, which is different for the computer-based examination and the paper-based exam. All right. So this is what we are going to cover. And I will be trying to convey some strategies or tricks related to the speaking section itself. All right. So let us begin. Okay. So this is the answer to why we give IELTS examination. English is not our first language in India or maybe in Asian countries. This is not our first language. And that is the entry point when the foreign nations have asked us that we need to prove our proficiency in English language. So the first point which comes to the mind is to study abroad. You might go for a diploma course in Canada or Australia, or maybe to New Zealand, UK, or USA. You can do degree, bachelor's, master's, or even PhD. So they have made a criteria that if you can prove that you can, let's say, surpass this specific score in IELTS examination, you guys are welcome to study abroad in our premises. So this is mainly for those who are looking for study abroad. It can be the students maybe after 10th standard or maybe just fresh out of school, then college students, and obviously those people who are coming in the age bracket of maybe 20 plus, 25 plus, even 30 plus. All right. Then the second one is to apply permanent residency overseas. Now, listen to me very carefully. Yes, there are candidates who apply for residency abroad straight away, specifically to countries like Canada, Australia, even New Zealand. So they need to proceed with the IELTS examination. There are certain differences which I'll be sharing with you in this presentation, and you get the permanent residency once you get into the system of IELTS with a better score. Again, there is the third category where you are looking for jobs abroad, especially again in the countries like New Zealand, Australia. Canada is the most sought after country. So there is a specific bandwidth of the score you require for applying jobs abroad. Now, the positive point about IELTS examination is once you're done with your examination, and from the date of you gave your examination, it is valid for 2 years exactly. You have enough time to proceed with your paperwork for your study visa, your permanent residency visa, or even for your job application abroad. So, all in all, these are the reasons. And the last point has been a positive. It gives you enough cushion, enough duration of time to make it possible with the paperwork. So, I'm hoping that you are getting these points. Yes, you must be eager to know these strategies straight away, but have some patience. You will get them once we proceed further. All right. So, as I mentioned earlier, the academic IELTS examination is mainly for your studies abroad. This is also known as a training purpose. So, what is it actually? Everybody knows that we are going for study abroad in Western countries, so we need IELTS. This is also known as a training module, a training test. If you would like to pursue, let's say you are a doctor, you're a dentist, you have done your bachelor's, or you have done some kind of training maybe just after your school, and you look forward to not properly have a training or study abroad for 2 years or even 1 year, even for the shorter version courses, you still need to go ahead with the academic module of IELTS examination. And that is why it is also known as the training module. Okay, so that is for academics. Then there is general test for job and permanent residency. As I mentioned earlier, you need a different score for general IELTS examination. All right. Okay. So the format is we have 4 sections in both type of IELTS examination, whether it is academic or general. You guys are already aware that we have reading, listening, writing, and speaking. Reading constitutes 40 questions where you need to grill your mind for 1 hour. You need to solve 40 questions in 1 hour. Then we have listening. As you can see, it is 30 plus 10 minutes. Now, there is a difference between computer-based examination and the paper one. What is that? Reading gets the same amount of time you have in both the modules, 1 hour. 40 questions remain the same. However, in your listening test for paper one, you have 30 plus 10 minutes. All in all, I can say you have 40 minutes of time to flex your muscles and solve the questions. But in the computer one, you get 32 minutes approximately. Why this is the difference? We will talk about it later on. Yes, it makes a difference. You can use these strategies, which I will discuss maybe in the coming slides. Then we have writing section, which is common for both the versions, 1 hour. And then speaking, which is professionally for 11 to 14 minutes. Okay. Now, let us look at the reading test. We have 40 questions. Yes, we all know about it. Then there are 3 passages. I'm talking specifically in relation to the academic candidates. The academic IELTS examination has 3 passages. And the first 2 passages have 13 questions each. The last one is having 14. And total questions become 40. So now, What we usually do in reading is we are aware about the very famous strategy on YouTube, which is skim and scan. Personally, I do not give any vote, any weightage to that strategy. The reason being, yes, we are suggested by our elders and the teachers that you should be reading novels, you can read newspapers to find out the vocabulary, read more often. They are right, absolutely. However, have you ever wondered from where these passages or reading tests are made? How they are, let's say, from which source they are coming from? Yes, if you are aware about the source, that might also help you to prepare for this examination. Because reading, this is what my experience says. Most of the students are not at all comfortable while doing reading section. Because even if the requirement is to score band 6, which is 23 correct answers out of 40, but there is lack of strategy. They're only reading for the common words which are present in the question and in the passage. And that is where most of the students are required to repeat their examination. They do not clear usually. So here I'm sharing the strategies. Strategy is the source is coming from UK, Australia, Ireland, and Canada. Which exact source it is? It is the newspaper articles, the newspaper and the magazines, which are definitely a daily source of vocabulary for native candidates, for English people in these four countries mainly. Remember, IELTS examination is made by Cambridge, and that means 80% of the content is made from the newspaper and magazines of UK. So yes, you can Google about the magazines and newspapers of UK and other three countries if you are really, really serious about improving your reading skills. All right. It doesn't mean that you should leave reading newspapers of your own country. I'm not saying that. I just want to, let's say, broaden your horizons. You should have more options to practice from. Okay. All right. Now, proceeding to the next one. The listening test, it is for 40 minutes. You have four sections, four parts, and each part has 10 questions each, which are divided into two unequal parts. Now, in this listening test, yes, the most common problems which a candidate faces is related to the multiple choice questions. And yes, on the second position, we have the matching questions. And the last one comes about the maps. So these three are a bit of concern, mainly the MCQs. However, there are strategies which you can practice. In this listening test, you have a monologue, then dialogue, a trilogue, and strategies. What I mean by monologue is there are two people speaking. However, there is only one person in section one who is going to ask questions. So in a way, I'm saying it is a monologue. There is only another person who is answering all things, all details, sharing in detail. Okay. The accent is different. Your Indian accent is obviously understandable because you are using it since your childhood. So it is easier. However, the accent is slightly challenging. Then it is about catching the speed of the speakers. So all in all, yes, you can completely rely on the strategies only. There is no problem with the accent because the reason being they are still clear while speaking their language. It is about our habit, which we are not used to. So there is a way how to make that habit. Okay. Okay. Writing section has two tasks to perform. Task number one, which is based on the graphical pictures. You need to interpret the data which is given to you in the form of a picture, and you will observe that they have given you some figures or the data. They want you to interpret that information in sentences. They want to see, the examiners are looking forward to know that are you able to form sentences using those figures or whatever the data is given. It is easier. The reason being, yes, you might be having some grammatical errors. However, there is very slight change in your style of writing, which you can use. So task one gives you 20 minutes and you have minimum 150 words to be written on your answer sheet. Then we proceed to the task two, which is very famous among students. Everybody knows it is the essay. It gives you 40 minutes. Minimum word limit is 250. Remember, when they mention on the question paper, at least or minimum requirement is 150 words or 250 words for task 1 and task 2 respectively, they are saying there is no upper limit. You can write whatever number of words you can manage. But remember, you cannot go below 150 in task 1 and 250 in task 2. Yes, you have a cap of minutes as well, 20 minutes and 40 minutes. So you can muster around to 170, 180 words or even 200. There is no negative marking in IELTS examination. So if you have come across any myth or fact on Google or anywhere from your friends that there is negative marking of writing extra, it is not true. All right, it is not true at all. And yes, at last, there are strategies for this section as well. You might be using your templates from YouTube, from Google, or from your friends or institutes. Yes, you have the freedom to use it. However, there are strategies which you should be using to write efficiently and score better. So I hope you all are understanding easily what I'm trying to convey within this presentation. Okay. Now, personally, what I've done in this section is I will be giving you some sample questions and answers so that you can understand what kind of strategies I'm talking about. So here we have the speaking test. First, about the structure, we have three parts precisely. Part one is also known as the introduction or the general questions we have. You have questions like, can I check your ID? What is your full name? Where do you stay? What is your favorite color? Your favorite flower? Celebrity? Family member? Best friend? Teacher? You're working or studying? So these kind of questions come up in part one. All right. And then we have part two, which is the cue card, also known as the topic question. You are given a specific question and the examiner says you have 1 minute to make notes if you are willing to make notes. And then you need to speak for up to 2 minutes. Now let me clear some points here. In the cue card, you get 1 minute. Try to use that 1 minute to make notes properly using your pencil on the paper. Because most of the students who are stuck at 6, 6.5 or even 5.5, they are not used to making better notes. Why? Because they have not practiced in the same manner. Remember, the examiner is giving you the option to make notes. So there has to be some point about it. There has to be some validity. That is why they're giving you the option. Make use of it because you can improve your speaking. The next point about cue card is you get up to 2 minutes to speak in front of the examiner. Up to 2 minutes means examiner can stop you after 1 minute anytime. For example, if one of the candidate has been stopped by the examiner after 1 minute 15 seconds, maybe 1 minute 30 seconds, 125, or even 145 seconds, that does not mean the format of the speaking test has changed. It is simply trying to tell you that examiner has already made his judgment. So after a minute, they can stop you anytime. But your responsibility is you need to prepare for 2 minutes. So usually what happens in the examination, the examiner uses this gesture like this, a stop signal. Once it is done, you need to stop straight away. All right. So these are some of the points related to cue card. Then comes the part three. Usually it is the follow-up questions to the cue card. Now, I had some students in the past and I asked them a question. What is the difference between part 1 and part 3? They said part 1 is the introduction or the general questions are there, and part 3 is the follow-up questions to the cue card. Is this the difference? There is one question here. How long our answer should be in part 1 and part 3? So the answer comes from the students. In part 1, I can give 2 lines, 3 sentences, or even 4, depending upon the question. Then in part 3, I can make it 7, 8 sentences. Try to understand. Let me go to the next slide first. Okay, so this is what I have done here. I have a few questions. And if you can notice, on the 4th point, I have written the marking criteria. So now let us try to understand what I'm trying to convey from the last question. The question was how long our answer should be in part 1 and part 3. Cambridge IELTS has given this marking so that they can understand what a candidate is capable of scoring in IELTS speaking. They have told us about fluency, coherence, pronunciation, vocabulary, and the grammar. Are they talking about the number of sentences here? No. So please, there should be no confusion. It is not depending on the number of sentences you have for a particular answer. So according to the rules, part 1 is over within 10 to 15 seconds. 10 to 15 seconds. And in part 3, your answer should be around up to 30 seconds. Now the next question comes up in your mind. How can I or we make sure that we have lasted for 15 seconds or maybe 30 seconds? So students, this is not your concern. Your concern is to perform. That is your responsibility. Because the stopwatch and the audio recording device is with the examiner. He is taking care of the time. He is the timekeeper. You need to focus on your answer. Once you have spoken your answer, you have given the answer as it is required, he will throw another question at you. This is very simple. And there is one strategy which can tell you very clearly that you should finish your answer. This is the time to finish. I will share just now. Okay. So this is the slide I have right now. Let us try to understand the marking with these 3 questions. The first question is, what is your favorite color? Now, if we answer this question in, let's say, what we have learned in our school and college, the simple answer is, my favorite color is black because it looks good on me. So this is how you answer usually, naturally. Try to listen to me again very carefully. The question is, what is your favorite color? And the answer is, my favorite color is black because it looks good on me. So this answer is acceptable. However, it looks too short. Okay, all right. That is not a criteria to mark you, no problem. But marking criteria, there is one word written there, vocabulary. Let us try to understand this word first. The vocabulary here in IELTS speaking says you are not repeating your words or you are not repeating those words which are already present in the question. If you very carefully look at the question, this is, what is your favorite color? And if I mention my favorite color is, so I have repeated the word favorite and color from the question itself. So this kind of answer, it is not wrong. I'm not saying this is wrong, but it gives clear indication that the candidate is not aware about the marking criteria of IELTS speaking. And that is how examiner is going to mark you. All right. Now, let us look at the answer using vocabulary and how we change it. Question again. What is your favorite color? Listen to the answer type number 1. I am in love with I am in love with black because whenever I wear this, I get compliments from my friends and family members, and I am very happy about it. Have you observed what I have done? I have not repeated the words which are already present in the question. Answer type number 2. What is your favorite color? I am extremely passionate about black because now I am going to give the same reason. But I changed the initial words, the group of words. I changed them. Type number 3 answer. What is your favorite color? Since my childhood, my parents and family members have always told me that I look like an actor whenever I am wearing black, and that is why it is close to my heart. Now, try to understand. Initially, what I did with the answers was I gave reason at the end and I changed some words initially. That's fine. You can score better. You're changing the words and then you're presenting the reason. Yes, this is what is required in your speaking test. However, the last answer, since my childhood, I gave the reason at the start. And then I mention at the end, this is my favorite color. So what I'm trying to convey is reasoning or reason is required in your part 1. Do not try to go off topic. If you have been asked a simple or specific question, you need to answer that with reason. If you give reason at first, you start with the reason, there are more chances of getting more score, better score, a high score. However, it is only for those candidates who are looking for, let's say, a better score like 8, maybe 8.5, 7.5. All right. No of your, let's say, any of answers which are given by you to the examiner are wrong. Nothing is wrong. They mark you for your marking criteria. The more vocabulary you have, better reasonings, you have more chances of scoring whatever is requirement. Above that, you can score better than that. Okay. So that was an example. Now let us try to do the same with the second question I have on the screen. It says, what shall I call you? So usually the answer can be, you can call me with my first name dash or XYZ because this is my identity. This is what my parents have given me as a name. This is what my friends call me. It seems easier. But if we again apply the rule of vocabulary here, what can we do? Question is, what shall I call you? You can acknowledge me with my first name XYZ because this is what is my identity and my friends and family members acknowledge me with the same. They can refer me as Dash. Again, look at the different answer. What shall I call you? Since my school days, my parents and friends have acknowledged me with my nickname Dash or XYZ. I'll be happy if you can refer me as the same. So what I'm giving here is the differentiation of the good quality answers and the plain answers. There is always a strategy to score better or even pass the examination in your first attempt if you have the correct strategies like this. Okay, let us go to the third one. This is, I have these 3 questions because this is what we commonly get in the part one section. So another one is, where do you stay? So a plain answer again. I stay in the northwest part of New Delhi, which is having the name XYZ, and this is a nice place to stay. I thoroughly love it. I enjoy my time here. Okay, this can be the answer. However, the reason has to be effective. There has to be a reason. Now, when we think about where we stay, think about those factors. Why your parents, why your guardians have taken a home, built their home in that place. Whenever we, let's say, make any construction or house anywhere in the area, we always look forward to have medical facilities, transport, better education, markets, parks, maybe, society, people, neighbors. Yes, these are the factors and these are the reasons. So, how to answer this question? Where do you stay? My parents always wanted to provide me with the best education and medical facilities, and that is the reason we have our house in northwest part of this area, and I'm very happy in it. So I am giving the reason for my answer. Or a plain answer can be, where do you stay? I simply stay in northwest part of this area because this is very famous for the medical and the education facilities. I am having a good time here. So I'm hoping that you guys are understanding my answers. What are the differences between a good quality answer and the normal answering? Now, if you look at the marking criteria again, there is one more point which I would like to explain to you. The fluency, the first word which I have written after marking on the fourth point, fluency. There is a misconception between students that fluency is about the speed, how fast we can speak the answer in front of the examiner. But this is completely wrong. Why? Let me try to explain. Let us take an example of the one of these questions. So the first one was, what is your favorite color? Now, according to Cambridge, fluency is the smoothness, how smooth you are speaking English to convey your meaning, what you're trying to say. The examiner should pick your words and letters. Okay? Yes, fluency is about no stumble, no fumble, no pauses, no break in between. You should speak smoothly. How? Let us try to understand with an example. The question is, what is your favorite color? Now, observe my answer. My favorite color is black because um, this is what I look good in, and my friends gave me a lot of compliments. Did you observe what I've done here? I am using the sound as a cushion, as a precautionary measure, so that I can think about the sentence or the word afterwards. This is giving me time to think about my answer. However, the sound I'm creating while speaking is not acceptable professionally. We might be speaking, let's say, in the same sense or style with our friends, my friends or family members, even at work. However, in IELTS, they want it to be clear of these speed breakers. There has to be speed, but it should be smooth enough. But when I use the sound while speaking between words, it is not professionally looking good. So what is this exactly? On YouTube, you might have found that these are called fillers. The fillers are acceptable according to Cambridge IELTS. However, the filler or the fillers should be words, not the sound. Yes, we create sound when we speak words. However, that sound is making us speak words. It is not a plain sound. So when I say, yes, it is a sound, it is not a word. And this is not acceptable. This is not going to give you the score. So first of all, the basic strategy is, if you have these fillers like these, you need to control, you need to stop, you need to close your mouth. Try to control these fillers. Instead, Cambridge says the fillers, the natural fillers, the English fillers, like, you know, to be honest with you, frankly speaking, apparently, actually, Well, to be honest with you, these are some of the examples of fillers which you can use to speak, and these are better because these are in English. These are some words. These are not only sounds. So I hope you are getting a clarity here. All right. Now, the next marking which I am taking here is the pronunciation. So many students are there who misunderstand the pronunciation with the term accent. The way of speaking a specific word or a letter by the foreigners is completely different, which we are doing in our normal life, in our daily life. However, pronunciation doesn't mean it is accent. It simply means you should be clear, clarity while speaking. So what I'm trying to say is, right now, if I'm talking to you and my words and letters are not clear, you're not understanding any of these, the words, then I have my pronunciation absolutely wrong. Pronunciation is the clarity of speech. Whatever you're going to speak, whatever word or letter comes out of your mouth should be crystal clear. It should be clearly understood. Sound should be clear. All right. Okay. Now, I hope you are getting all these points and you are going to use these in your preparation. Now, what I'm trying to add in the next one is, thanks to Uni Discovery, that I have got this masterclass so that I can interact with you people. And the advantages which I want to convey to you, if you want to, let's say, looking forward to prepare for your IELTS examination, for your training purpose, or for your PR, or any other kind of purpose to go abroad. So what I have shared here on this slide is something different, because the strategies which you are definitely going to take from us is not, you easily not available on the YouTube. It is not easily available. The reason being, yeah, because YouTube is free. It's a free platform. Everybody can put any kind of video there. Even I can do the same. I can prepare a candidate for speaking test and say band 9. Bang on. I'm getting millions of views. However, the real strategies are not spread like a forest fire. You need to burn the midnight oil. And for that, you should, or you are welcome to contact us further. All right. I have 15 plus years of experience, and I started my journey in Australia. I did my studies there, and I trained my friends who were not able to clear IELTS. I started teaching them, and that's how I got my experience. I got the certification there itself, and it's been 15 years or more. So that's an added advantage. Now, I have previous experience as well. I am teaching online to the candidates who are living in UK for their examinations to apply for the training or work permit. I do train for Canadian and Australian candidates overseas. They are doing coaching online, and that's an advantage as well, because I've got that experience. I can make a differentiation between how we teach in India, how we understand in India, and how we get the understanding of the same point in Australia or Canada. So both of these mixtures are an advantage for me. I can use Hindi language as a method of conveying my point. I can mix it up. So that's an advantage. And the most important thing is I do provide, with the help of Uni Discovery, we have found a very important factor, which is the availability. There are candidates who are busy in the mornings, who are doing night shifts. Even in the school, you have some projects, you're not free during the afternoon. Maybe you are having some tuitions in the evening. So what we have done is we have covered all of these points. We start from morning, we have different slots, and we do provide training, let's say from 8 a.m. in the morning till 10 in the evening. So this is what we have as an added advantage. I will not be saying that um, these are the points which make us different from, let's say, other platforms, other trainers. So that's the main point. Anyways, so all the best for your training. I wish you good luck, and I'll be waiting for you. Okay, take care.
I think there's one more slide after this where I can just walk through next steps. Thank you so
All
much,
right.
Lokesh, for taking us through all of the tips, the tricks, the strategies required, as well as the structure for IELTS in general, which a lot of people are confused about, and where all it is actually used. So the basics as well as the granular details have been covered. As next steps, as Lokesh mentioned, we are available over call or over email, so you can always get in touch. We have a WhatsApp group for all of the cohort members, so they can always write their queries there as well in from the particular masterclass as well, which we'd be happy to answer and then take up even more on a personalized or group level as and when people are as and when the need arises. After this, we'll also share some resources with you in general, which you can kind of skim through for your own purpose, and for your own preparation. And just to answer one more question on the timings aspect that Lokesh mentioned, it's usually IELTS can be completed in about a month or 2 months time. I would say if you give about 4 to 5 sessions a week for about 1.5 hours, because this is not just English language, it's actually a test around English. So there are certain tips, tricks, and strategies that are not just available on YouTube or not just available in general English language that we are discussing or speaking right now. It's to be prepared in a test format, but about a month and a half, depending on your speed, depending on your obviously fundamentals of English, you should be able to prepare pretty fast. And we'll have mock tests available as well for everybody, so that's an added advantage of being able to practice IELTS as well as a test. So thank you again. Hopefully this masterclass has been genuinely helpful for you to further take away a lot of insights from and prepare irrespective. And there'll be a lot of other masterclasses as well in the future, so do keep in touch. But that brings us to the end, so we'll end the workshop right here and see you all soon.